And what I was even looking at, it was pretty wild. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand.
And before y'all start,
alright YouTube, so this one is an insane video right here. This one is Katt Williams slamming Diddy for giving Usher herpes at a young age, aka as a minor. So yeah, without further ado, man, let's get into this video because it's a lot to go over and unpack. So yeah, make sure you hit that like button, make sure y'all subscribe. Let's get into it.
So what was in Kim's book? You want to hear it? Here it go. Now, I cannot confirm or deny what's in this book, but ain't nobody fit Natasha K. me. So in this book, it detailed his relationships with men, footage of those encounters. It had the names of the men he slept with, a disease, allegedly Diddy giving Usher a disease.
Huh. What's happening, Puff? I'll be back to you if JD ain't had enough. Yeah? Jermaine Dupri, king of the you ask me, baby. Jermaine Dupri, small as a child.
okay, so it looks like Katt Williams is in the middle of a master plan to break Diddy down and take him out for good because he is still spilling the tea on Diddy. And every time he speaks on Diddy, the situation gets wilder and wilder, and it looks like we have gotten to the worst of the worst. Y'all know how Usher has had herpes for a long time now? Well, Katt is now claiming that Usher allegedly got the herpes during one of the freak-offs that he was allegedly forced into with Diddy when he was a minor. Usher lived with Diddy as a teen and has spoken about some of the wild...
That's crazy thing about that boy been burning since a teen. A lot of people been burning since a teen.
Things that he witnessed while living with Diddy. Well, Katt is now claiming that not only did Usher see those wild things, but he allegedly lived them, and that's how he ended up getting herpes before he was even old enough to vote. Y'all need to hop on this situation because Katt is coming with receipts, and he did not come to play.
Hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle,
right?
And I saw it, and it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild.
Okay, at this point, I'm starting to think that Katt Williams has some insane beef with Diddy that we don't know about, because the way he has been putting his back into exposing Diddy is actually kind of crazy. I mean, from talking about how Diddy tried to pay him $50 million for a one-night stand, or how Diddy has been allegedly trying to unalive people and all that stuff. Now, at this point, you'd think that Katt would be slowing down and easing off on Diddy, but the reverse seems to be the case because he just seems to be getting more and more heated as the days go by, and this time he is calling Diddy out for not only allegedly S.A.ing Usher, but also allegedly giving Usher herpes during an alleged freak-off when Usher was still a minor. It may seem like these accusations against Diddy are coming out of nowhere, but that isn't the case because people have been talking about this sort of thing for a very long time now. It was mostly whispers here and there, but it wasn't until a couple of years ago that people...
I'll tell you this right here. All that stuff that was just up for debate, that everybody was talking about, like Epstein Island, all that stuff is true. And guess whose name came up in it? Diddy's came up in that too as well. So that right there, that was just on the side. So imagine what he did at his own house during his free time. Like, that's insane to think about.
People started to speak about it more openly, and Chile, the things that were brought to light were disturbing. But it wasn't until Cassie's lawsuit that people really started to pay a lot of attention to Diddy's alleged activities. And even though it has been more than 2 months since the lawsuit, Diddy is still in a shaky position because his reputation is still in shambles. He is nowhere close to fixing his reputation. Honestly, it's hard to wonder if he will ever be able to fix things because the internet never forgets. Cassie's lawsuit detailed Diddy's alleged mistreatment of her during their 11-year relationship.
It don't matter at this point if Diddy became Superman and saved the entire world of world hunger. There's always gonna be somebody that says, "But didn't he do this? But didn't he do that?" There's always gonna be that. There's people that get that done to them, and even though they ain't do nothing bad, really. So imagine, no, he's never living this down at all.
And one thing that people have found intriguing about
before I started using
suit is that it kind of confirms some of the whispers that have been going around about Diddy in the past. For one, Cassie revealed that she was only 19 and Diddy was 37 when they started dating. From the way she phrased it, it seems like she was forced into the relationship against her will. See, Diddy was the owner of Bad Boy Records, who signed Cassie to the label, and from the way she put it, she didn't exactly have a say in the relationship. She claimed that there was nothing she could do about the relationship because he was technically her boss and she couldn't say no to him. But that's not all, because even though he knew that she didn't want to be in the relationship, he continued to force her to stay with him, even going as far as to hold her career over her head. She claimed that on multiple occasions when she tried to leave, he would sick people on her, threatening to ruin her career in the industry and make sure that nobody would ever work with her anymore. According to Katt Williams, Cassie was not the first person Diddy had pressured into a relationship, because he has allegedly been doing this to multiple people in the past. It wasn't limited to women alone, because he has allegedly been doing this to young men as well. Chile, they don't even have to be young per se, because Katt claimed that Diddy allegedly offered him $50 million for a one-night stand.
Now, I've had to turn down $50 million 4 times. 4 times. Just to protect my integrity and that virgin hole I was telling you about. Right.
Well, Katt got off relatively easy, considering that Diddy didn't try to force him into a freak-off or something like that. But many other men weren't as lucky, because they were stuck in an alleged freak-off with Diddy. According to Katt, Diddy had this habit of allegedly moving through young boys like he was entitled to them or their bodies. Katt called him out for being arrogant and entitled, claiming that he allegedly did the same thing to Usher for years. According to Katt, Usher allegedly caught herpes during one of the freak-offs, and while Katt didn't exactly claim that Diddy directly gave Usher the STD, he did hint that Diddy allegedly knew about Usher contracting the virus and has been working overtime to cover it up. But before we get to the part where Usher spilled the tea, can we take a minute to talk about how so many other men have come out to spill about Diddy putting them in uncomfortable positions and trying to get them into freak-offs? Katt Williams isn't the only one exposing Diddy, because even 50 Cent, who's basically Diddy's biggest op, spilled the tea a while back. Apparently, Diddy offered to take 50 Cent shopping, and 50 found
I remember that.
this to be kind of zesty.
He said something to me one time, a long time ago, at Chris Lighty's wedding. He told me to take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Let me get out of no, dude, take me. That's what a guy says to him.
But when Diddy went on an interview and was asked about it, he tried to deny it initially, claiming that he never made such an offer. But when they continued,
Why would 50 Cent lie about that though? Like that ain't even nothing to brag about. Like, that's not even a good lie. That's not even a good thing to brag about. Like imagine me going to one of my homeboys and I'm like, oh yeah, but my homeboy just offered to take me shopping. That don't even sound right in no type of way. So that's how you know 50 Cent telling the truth, bro. Like, make it make sense, bro.
to press him, he eventually came clean, claiming he wanted to help 50 Cent upgrade his wardrobe because he thought that 50 Cent needed better clothes. Talk about shady.
I asked 50 about that, and he said you did the same thing to him. You asked him to take him shopping.
Yeah, I thought he needed some clothes.
Oh, so now you telling the truth to get on him, but you just lied. See, you're already getting caught up, and he gonna slip up in the future and say something about these current events that people are talking about. Watch.
What? I'm a nice guy.
Yo, why are you and Fifth just...
Hey, yo.
Why y'all not...
Hey, yo, I don't have no beef with
I don't know why.
With Fifth. He loves me.
But people didn't buy this one bit because Diddy's response was so awkward that people believed that he was lying. He was stuttering and stammering like someone who had been caught off guard, and it was obvious that he didn't see the question coming. See, I just know that I'm not the only one who finds it weird that Diddy keeps making advances toward his ops. First it was 50 Cent, and now Katt. It's like he's just daring someone to spill the beans on him and expose him. I know there are so many people in the industry who would be willing to consent to have an affair with Diddy, so why does he keep going after the people who don't want him? It's like he enjoys the chase much more than the actual intimacy. According to Katt, Diddy's specialty seems to be allegedly going after younger people, especially those who are under him in some way, because he loves control. And get this, Katt claims that Diddy has allegedly been doing this right under our noses. Remember, in 2005, 2005 when Diddy held a comedy special that he referred to as P. Diddy Presents the Bad Boys of Comedy. At the time, Diddy claimed that he wanted to get into the comedy side of Hollywood, so he decided to organize the special, pulling in 110 comedians for the special. This was a pretty big deal back in the day, but Katt is now telling us that we should have been concerned when Diddy went all out and hired all those upcoming comedians, considering the reputation that he now has. At the time, we didn't know what we now know about Diddy, but Katt is now claiming that some really sneaky shenanigans allegedly went down at the time. Here's the twist. Katt is now claiming that the comedy special was a mere cover-up for Diddy's alleged sinister shenanigans, if you know what I'm talking about. Katt is claiming that Diddy was allegedly targeting struggling comedians who more susceptible to his advances. Katt claimed that Diddy allegedly targeted the upcoming artists because he wanted them to be in his debt and they would be eager to pay him back in any way he wanted, even if it involved freak-offs. He also hinted that the special was a smokescreen, a facade for Diddy to allegedly engage in some less than savory acts. Katt spilled the tea, suggesting that Diddy was allegedly curating a selection of fresh meat from the pool of comedians. It's like he was building his own roster, but not for laughs, which brings us back to Usher. For those who don't know, Usher has been in the industry since he was a young kid, and he was mentored by L.A. Reid, who was grooming him to be a superstar in the industry. Even though he was a kid, he already showed great promise, and he was willing to put in the work. But then things changed when he hit puberty, and his voice began to crack, which threatened to jeopardize his potential career. L.A. Reid started to lose his faith in Usher and wanted to drop him. As a last-ditch effort, L.A. Reid decided to send Usher to live with Diddy to learn the ropes of the industry. Now, this should have been fine enough because it was supposed to be a sort of apprenticeship thingy, but there were a couple of red flags waving that should have stopped the situation. One of the first red flags was the fact that it was referred to as puffy-flavored camp, which just sounded very weird. Like, what did that even mean? And if we're choosing to ignore the creepy name, can we talk about the fact that it wasn't a smart idea to send a child to live with someone with Diddy's reputation? Now, this was back in the 90s, but even then, there were already reports of Diddy being on the DL. There were no reports of him liking young men back then, but...
That's crazy. See, bro, and a rumor does not linger on that much, bro. No.
There were already reports of him being on the DL. Plus, Diddy was already known for his wild lifestyle back then. You know, throwing wild parties in his house, having some alleged orgies, and just being a wild child. So how on earth did people think that it was okay to send a child to live with him? That's not the type of situation that a child should have been in, but not only was Usher in that situation, but he lived the situation. It's also interesting how Usher hates to talk about his time living with Diddy. And according to Katt, this is because he is allegedly low-key traumatized from the things that he saw and was allegedly forced to do when he lived with Diddy. Howard Stern was one of the few people who got Usher to open up about the things he lived and experienced when he lived with Diddy, and the things that Usher said were enough to send alarm bells going off in our heads.
His place was like just filled with chicks and orgying like nonstop, right?
No, not really. I mean, but hey, it was curious. I got a chance to see some things.
Yeah, but you were 13. What were you seeing?
I went there to see the lifestyle,
right?
And I saw it, and it was, but I don't know if I could indulge and understand what I was even looking at. It was pretty wild. What I did say is that there were very curious things taking place, and I didn't necessarily understand.
And before y'all start
That's crazy, bro.
Asking why his parents didn't get him out of that situation or why they didn't advocate for their son, Usher revealed that his parents had no idea what was going on because Diddy forced him to hide the truth from his parents.
They didn't know nothing about this. I was having a good time, you know what I mean?
At the time, Usher didn't really go into details about what happened to him with Diddy, but he did say that he would never let the same thing happen to his kids, and that's how we know that he saw and went through some pretty bad stuff.
You're a dad now. Would you ever send your kid to puffy camp?
Hell no.
The first time he gave us a hint about his experience with Diddy was the time he had an interview. He was reluctant to open up about it, and the interviewer noted that Usher became surprisingly restrained.
I ain't gonna lie to y'all boys, man. Boys and girls, my bad. Well, he probably had a lot of females being thrown at him, bro. Like, not by like Diddy having to be like, hey, go over there and mess with Usher real quick, you know what I'm saying? But like, they did the same thing with Justin Bieber, bro. They literally did the same thing with Justin Bieber. Like, if you go look back at some Justin Bieber videos and like all the times he was getting groomed and randomly touched by adults when he was like 16, 15, however old, it's wild. So imagine what happened to Usher, bro. Imagine what happened to Usher. he probably lost his virginity at a young age too. Well, obviously, but you know what I mean. Like, I don't think the whole herpes part is because of Diddy, but at the same time, you never know.
I want to save some stuff for my book one day, he said. I'll put it this way. There was a lot of sex. Oh, and did y'all see that viral video when Diddy hinted that he and Usher used to sleep in the same bed?
Yep.
My brother right here from day one, we used to wake up and, pause. Back in the days when he was like 10 and I was a little bit older, his older brother, we used to fight over the frosted flakes. You know what I'm saying?
Or the time he said this.
You ain't for nobody else but you. You take that turn, boy. I see you. Fly ass motherfucker doing Vegas. You were in the kitchen eating all my cereal.
Now get this. In a recent interview, Diddy's former bodyguard Gene Deal put Usher on blast, saying that Usher knew more than he was letting on, and he had all the insider information on Diddy.
Man, it's a lot of stuff that Mace and Usher know that they ain't telling about Diddy. There's a lot of stuff that they know. Can you imagine, bruh?
What you mean by Usher, though?
Usher used to stay with Diddy, too, when he was younger.
Why would Gene put Usher on blast if Usher was the victim? Well, according to Katt, this is because Usher had, in turn, been helping Diddy to hide his alleged SA. This sounds... Now, to understand what allegedly happened, we need to take it all the way back to the 90s when Usher lived with Diddy, because Katt is claiming that some celebs were in on the action too, and one name that he dropped was Kevin Hart, allegedly. And if you're wondering why Kevin Hart got dragged into this carnival of chaos, well, Katt's got stories for days. According to him, Kevin not only knew about Diddy's alleged escapades, but was also aware of Diddy's alleged SA activities. Despite not being part of Diddy's comedy special, Kevin Hart was a frequent face in Diddy's circle, seen at the infamous parties and even hosting a few.
Hey, yo, Kevin, come here, no homo. We're gonna have a contest. You know we're gonna have a contest, we're gonna get our breath first, because your breath be stinking sometimes. And we're gonna go back and forth. Uh-oh.
First of all, make sure my mic is on. Before I begin into trashing Diddy, I'm gonna acknowledge him on a special day.
In an old video from one of the parties, Diddy was sitting on a bed when Kevin and the camera crew walked in. Diddy was caught off guard by this, and the tension in the room was at an all-time high. For some reason, Diddy kept asking Kevin not to get any closer to him, and he even threw in a no homo joke, which made things even weirder because it was so unnecessary and looked like Diddy was trying to overcompensate for something.
Yeah, facts. Like, I mean, like, if I was like on a 3-man with me and my homeboys, right, and we got a whole bunch of females in the room, and one of my homeboys start recording, and my homeboy next to me, if there ain't no weird shit going on, we already know that, which obviously they ain't. I'm not finna be like, yo, back up off me, homeboy, back up. You know what I'm saying? That's gay. Back up. Like, that's weird all in its own. Like, nah.
Come here, don't sit on the bed at night, no homo, no, just don't get close to the bed, don't get close, but it's just like, yo, we want to thank you for hosting the thing, man, it's been a pleasure, you didn't have to do it and you did it. No.
Nigga stuttering like a drunk uncle. Yeah, you didn't have to do anything, but you did, you ain't a homo, yeah.
I definitely didn't have to do it, I definitely didn't have to. First and foremost, I'm not getting in the bed. Shouts out to him and what he did. I'm just gonna, if we can, let's just put the camera a little this way, just so we're not. I don't want my shot to even.
With what we now know about Diddy's parties and the things that happen at the events, fans are now wondering if something happened between Kevin and Diddy earlier that night because the energy in the room was just so weird, and there was clearly a lot of tension between them in that video. Katt Williams appeared to confirm this, hinting that there might have been a bit of hanky-panky between Diddy and Kevin at that time, allegedly. He's tossing around the idea that Diddy might have made Kevin an offer, and Kevin took the offer. Word on the street is that Katt has some crazy dirt on Diddy and Kevin, including how Kevin allegedly played a role in Diddy's shady affairs with Usher back in the 90s. Imagine this. Usher, the smooth crooner, reportedly lived with Diddy in New York at the tender age of 13, and rumors suggest that he allegedly got an STD from one of the freak-offs that he allegedly took part in while he lived with Diddy.
So what was in Kim's book? You want to hear it? Here it go. Now, I cannot confirm or deny what's in this book, but ain't nobody fit Natasha K. me. So in this book, it detailed his relationships with men, footage of those encounters. It had the names of the men he slept with, a disease, Allegedly, Diddy giving Usher a disease.
This is interesting because there has been a lot of talk on social media in the past years about how Diddy allegedly took Kim Porter out because she was writing a tell-all book on him. She was reportedly going to expose some really twisted stuff that she saw during their 9-year relationship. But Diddy couldn't risk this secret being out in the open, so he allegedly took Kim out. And before y'all start talking about how Kim should have stepped in to save Usher or speak out earlier, I need to remind y'all that she was as much a victim as Usher was because she was terrified of Diddy. Multiple sources have claimed that he used to put paws on her and rough her up as well. There were reports in the media around 2005 or so that Diddy and Kim got into an argument on his yacht, and he put his hands on her, breaking her nose. Kim tried to claim that she broke her nose by banging it on a table, which didn't even make sense. What's even shadier is that Diddy went to great lengths to script this from the internet, so there are...
Exactly. Like what happens whenever you got a bully, right? And you try to lie to your parents. You come on with a black eye or something. Oh, I ran into a pole, or I ran into a wall. I accidentally hit myself in the eye. Just like that. That story didn't make sense.
Are very few reports of the incident online. However, there is this one article that recounted the incident, saying Diddy Combs' girlfriend Kim Porter was left with a broken nose after the couple argued on Combs' yacht in Saint-Tropez. Combs flew in a specialist plastic surgeon from Geneva after the accident. Porter has since claimed that she hurt her face after she banged her nose on a table. So when I tell y'all that Kim was a victim and wasn't in the position to advocate for Usher, this is what I mean. So her writing a book was her best bet. Okay, back to Usher and the herpes that he allegedly got from Diddy's freak-offs. Now, it's known that Usher has herpes because he has been sued multiple times for carelessly exposing some intimate partners to herpes without using protection or revealing to them that he has herpes. Laura Helm, one of the accusers, sued Usher for $20 million, claiming he exposed her to the virus during an intimate encounter. Luckily for her, she tested negative for herpes, so he didn't infect, claiming that he had exposed her to a dangerous situation that could have given her a lifelong condition. She was really serious about suing, and the case was blowing up into a scandal that was making Usher look bad. Well, the next thing we knew, Laura randomly decided to drop the case without giving a reason for it, and this led people to believe that she had been paid off. But wait, there's more. 2 more women stepped up with lawsuits claiming that Usher irresponsibly exposed them to herpes without telling them, and they claimed that they couldn't have given informed consent because they didn't know the full story. One accuser remained anonymous, testing positive for herpes, while Quantasia Sharpton, the other woman, didn't test positive but was understandably upset. Quantasia claimed she'd hooked up with Usher just after her 19th birthday, raising concerns about potential health risks for her and her child. Then
I ain't no judgmental dude, but let me shut up.
And there's another Jane Doe who anonymously sued Usher, but he was smart enough to pay a hefty settlement of $1.1 million before these lawsuits. Katt put Diddy on blast, slamming him for hurting a little boy who was left in his care. Katt slammed Diddy for not protecting Usher, pointing out how Diddy has been going over and beyond to protect his own children from this side of the industry while allegedly hurting other people's kids. And get this, according to Katt, Usher is not Diddy's only alleged victim, because there are loads of other young artists that he allegedly forced into inappropriate activities, including the Criss Cross Boys. Allegedly.
What?
I don't know if y'all know this, but back in 2013, the FBI had some reasons to believe that Diddy was involved in some inappropriate relationship with young boys. According to reports, during a debriefing session with federal investigators, James Rosemond, the music manager turned cocaine kingpin, was reportedly questioned about the sexual preferences of entertainers, including whether Sean Diddy Combs was having intimate relationships with underage boys, according to a U.S. District Court filing. A prosecutor then asked about entertainers' intimate preferences, including, but not only, Sean Combs having intimate relationships with underage boys. So it's not like Katt is pulling things out of thin air because of his beef with Diddy, because y'all know that if the FBI was looking into Diddy for something like that, it's not because they read a headline in TMZ or whatever. The FBI doesn't move like that unless they have something to go on, so it's just kind of sus. Which brings us back to Katt and his talk of how Diddy allegedly SA'd young boys. A few years ago, Katt Williams got people talking when he threw some massive shade at Diddy and Jermaine Dupri, suggesting they might have been involved in allegedly essaying the Criss Cross Boys. For those who don't know who Criss Cross is, I'm referring to Chris Kelly and Chris Smith, 2 young boys who were all the rave in the 90s, even though they were very young at the time, only 12.
Jump, jump,
12 and 13 years old at the time. They were super successful, but unfortunately, they allegedly fell victim to some shady happenings in the industry. Jermaine Dupri, who was their mentor, played a pivotal role in their rise to fame, and he contributed a great deal to the success of the boys. However, according to Katt, there might have been more to their mentorship than just the music biz. Katt alleged that both Jermaine and Diddy were involved in grooming the boys in ways that extended far beyond the boundaries of the music.
You know what's crazy, bro? You grow up and you wish you was in a position. Some people still do, they don't care. But you wish you grew up in a position not knowing what all they went through, bro. That shit crazy, man. Some people, and some people can't even cap right now. Some people look at these videos like, damn, that's crazy. I could never. Some of y'all giving up y'all butt for 50 million. I'm just being honest with you, bro. Especially if you have no idea how to get it your damn self in the future, you gonna give up your butt for 50 million. You gonna give it up for $1 million. Hell am I talking about? I'm not, but for majority of other people, bro, y'all gonna do it.
Music industry. Rumors started circulating about alleged incidents of SA involving both Jermaine and his pal Diddy. Katt Williams claimed that these traumatic experiences pushed Chris Kelly toward a path of drug abuse as a coping mechanism. Chris Kelly's struggle with substance abuse got worse over the years until 2013, when he was discovered unconscious at his Atlanta home. Despite being rushed to the hospital, he was declared dead 3 days later. The revelation of his family acknowledging his history of drug abuse was heart-wrenching, shedding light on the painful journey Chris had endured. Yeah, that's some seriously messed up stuff, because as it turns out, the boys had their suspicions about Jermaine from the moment they met him. Their intuition told them that something was wrong, and they didn't trust him. In an old interview, Chris Kelly said, "We were just playing video games in this mall in Atlanta when all of a sudden this dude comes up to us and said that he'd like for us to work with him as rap musicians." That dude turned out to be Jermaine Dupri. We had no idea who he was. In fact, I told Mac Daddy that I thought the guy was probably a child. According to Katt, Diddy allegedly leaves a mark on the young men he essays, and if it's not allegedly getting Usher infected with herpes, it's allegedly getting Chris Kelly hooked on drugs, which eventually led to his OD fans had a lot to say about this, and they left comments like, "Y'all really gotta open your eyes and ears at the big dogs in the industry. Diddy has had the nastiest rap sheet next to R. Kelly, and y'all now hearing apt it?" The man had a young male artist program he called the Flavor Camp. Usher and Justin Bieber attended. Hello? A lot of rappers in his era have accused him of SA and or being his boy toy.
Exactly what I was saying earlier about Justin Bieber, bro. So much shit done happened to him that people don't even know about. Do your research on him, bro. He had it shitty too.
Boys. Usher definitely didn't get them herpes from a female. He probably had them since Diddy, and the surviving Sion Combs documentary is going to be out of this world. You thought R. Kelly was bad? Diddy gave Usher herpes? I can't wait. Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, but y'all let me know how you guys feel about this situation. Drop your thoughts in the comments, then check this next video.
That's crazy, man. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts on this video right here. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Make sure y'all subscribe. We gone. Peace.